love that we just totally heard Nick unzip his jacket, but for the people at home, they have no idea what was being unzipped. So we just start the show off with like hearing zzz. What kind of fucking show are we starting?
Nick really falls through on that quiet on the set.
I know. I said it's like
his chair,
hot mic. He moves his chair. He unzips his jacket. He's got his fucking this is damn fire smoke detector still going off. But here we are, another episode of the Movies and Stuff show. My name is Dan, and as you know, there's Marty and Nick.
Hey.
Talia was supposed to be with us this week. What happened was we couldn't do the show on Tuesday, couldn't do the show yesterday, got pushed to today. Talia is working today, so she can't make the show. We're going to have her on next week. We're doing the Paterno episode next week, right? So Talia join us next week. So
the issue wound up being neither you nor I was really that thrilled to watch this movie, Ready Player One, and it came out at a weird time in that it came out Easter weekend, which was also Final Four, beginning of baseball.
Yeah.
Dan and I were out of the baseball game last weekend. Yep. And, we had some fun doing the Netflix stuff for a little while, and we did Hulu. Like I said, we're going to do HBO in a couple weeks, and we just weren't dying to go out to the theater for this one. So Nick loved it. Nick read the book, so he always wanted to talk about this one. I bit the bullet and went to watch it today. So we'll get a good review here.
Yeah, you guys do the talking. I didn't go see it. I was telling Marty, I was like, listen, not only am I not, jazzed to go see this, my kid's been waking up, earlier and earlier, so I usually try to sneak out late night to go to the movies. I just haven't been able to, because she's been waking up on my sneaking out for movie time. So I hope this gets nipped in the bud by the time May comes around, Yeah.
And we've been talking about it too, that there's so much coming out, Avengers in a couple weeks, followed by Solo, Deadpool, everything else. And I was like, I looked at it a few times and I was about to buy tickets, and I was like, I don't want to spend $40 to watch this movie. I just didn't want to do it. So I finally waited. I saw it today at the first show, so I got it in for $13 or something. I'm like, all right, I can swing that. But it just gets to it. It's like, if you want to see it in the Prime and on a Friday night with the wife, it's like, it's gonna be $50. Like, I really want to spend $50 on this movie. It's like,
I don't want to spend $50 on any movie.
How's that doing box office wise?
It hit it opened number one. It was Spielberg's biggest opening since 2008 or something. I forget what it was. 50-something million.
It already made his money worldwide.
Yeah, it made some good money worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a huge. Everything is going to pale in comparison right now to what Black Panther did, but it made It's right now it's at 68 million domestic, 169 foreign. It's gonna be weird. I don't know what the production budget would be because I don't know how much they had to spend on all the rights to all the things that they use in this movie. So it'll be interesting to see how much this movie actually cost.
Well, I'm sure they spent what the Lego movie spent.
Yeah, but they didn't spend any money on actors.
It was the same exact studio that did the Lego movie. So they probably already knew how to go through that little hurdle, I guess.
Yeah,
plus he's got friends, right? I mean, Spielberg's got a couple of friends.
Spielberg,
I'm sure
it's probably easier.
He owns some of those properties.
Yeah.
Iron Giant.
Yeah, Iron Giant. Yeah. And I'll defer to you guys since you saw the movie. I think one of the criticisms I saw about this movie is that it's hard for anyone to really, really love it, because it just really is like a shotgun. It's just shooting so much stuff, so much nostalgia, so much pop culture stuff that it's hard. It's trying to appease to everybody, so not one group of people can really latch onto it and say, this is a movie that I love. I haven't seen people saying that they hate it necessarily. It's just, I think that factor of attachment and loving a movie, people think it's a little bit too much.
Well, Nick, you read the book, of course, and you were excited about this one. So why don't you run down, because either one had some expectations going into this one. So why don't you run down how it compared to what you were hoping?
All right. What I was telling you the other day, it was just one of those things where you're like, the book could have been 2 movies because there's a lot there. They had to cut some of the stuff down to make the movie, and the book is heavy on the nostalgia. It's super heavy on the nostalgia, and it's not really trying to please everybody. It's more so a specific section of people, like 80s nostalgia. It's heavy on 80s nostalgia. It's like super heavy on it. And I feel like in the flip side of it, when we see the movie, it didn't feel that like they had it in there. But if you're really looking for the nostalgia, that's all you're going to focus on. If you're not looking for it, there's also a story there. It's one of those things. I think people were just like stuck on where to, because they knew all the Easter eggs were there, and they were stuck on like, I gotta look for this, I gotta look for that, instead of like, I feel like that's maybe where some people might get lost, but I don't know.
Nick, do you have the cat at your feet, like rustling around with something?
No.
I'm hearing something. Yeah, every time Nick moves. It's his pants down to his ankles, right? That's what we heard on Zip.
Yeah.
He's just got no pants on.
Yeah. Nah, it might just be the headphones. Cause,
Are you wearing your one of your gold chains?
That is oddly racist. You have known me for close to 8 years. I've never worn a gold chain.
I thought you're doing throwback for the 80s nostalgia here.
Marty used to wear gold chains all the time.
Always.
Yeah,
Marty's nickname in college was Chains.
Yeah.
Back in the days, I mean, the chains that he was wearing, there was a giant W for the president at the time.
Or that, it was in West Side. He was always like the rip.
Yeah, well, he's from, because we were on West Side Avenue.
Or West Side Avenue.
West Side Avenue. So. Marty, what about you? What you think of this movie?
We'll just go a quick.
Do a little recap of the plot. Was there a plot? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's one of those movies where it explains the plot and all the things that you have to know like right away. So it's like, we're gonna get this out of the way, so just go, and then the rest of you just kind of like, oh, look at the shiny colors. We're set in 2045, so honestly, it's not that far off from where we are now, so which is kind of scary. Mm-hmm. And as in most movies these days, the future is not bright, and so. They try to explain one of my issues with the movie. It doesn't really explain what's going on in the real world enough, and I guess that's the point of it. But the stereotypical, there was a corn problem. You know, there's always a problem with the corn.
Wait a minute. Did someone burn down Paul Newman's cornfield?
Someone. I think it was
gonna have your legs broken, Marty.
It was Matthew McConaughey from the.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was no corn. There was I think they said it was a bandwidth war.
Yeah.
I didn't know what. They didn't really explain that, and then he says the kid who's the main focus of the movie is kind of narrating the whole thing. Yeah. Ty Sheridan, who plays he's
Cyclops.
Yeah, plays Cyclops in the new X-Men shit. If X-Men ever put that in the movie. Yeah. So he explains that they've reached a point where people stopped. People stopped trying to fix the problems and just kind of, went with it and just kind of resign themselves to live in these shitty ways. So like they live in this kind of thing they call the stacks, and it's just kind of. And so everyone lives in this
dangerous thing ever.
Yeah. So everyone lives in this what they call the Oasis, which was this kind of this virtual reality world where everyone can be in anything they want to be. And the guy who played Mark Rylance plays you. If you remember, he won the Oscar from the Bridge of Spies movie, which everyone thought should have went to Sylvester Stallone, but whatever. So he plays this kind of, Steve Jobs-like figure, kind of a, whatever, head of Google, head of Amazon guy named Halliday. So he created this whole world, and so he dies, and he sends out this message saying, all right, you have to find these three keys in this Oasis world, and that leads to the Easter egg. And so, and whoever finds the Easter egg gets control of the entire Oasis and all his money, which is, I think.
Half of his holdings, which is
half his money,
$500 billion.
Like, $500 billion.
So it's kind of like Willy Wonka. I mean,
it's a lot of that. It's a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean, but they also put that in the trailer. The music for that Willy Wonka was in the trailer.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah.
So the big bad of the movie is Ben Mendelsohn from Rogue One kind of thing. Yeah. But.
Didn't he remind you? He was playing like a Vince McMahon-esque type. Well, he was very Vince McMahon in his delivery. His
avatar weird. Was his avatar. I thought it was
Superman. His version of an evil Superman. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had the little curly Q and shit. But his was very Vince McMahon-y, where he's the big chest kind of barking and shit. His
cadences were very Vince McMahon-ish. Yeah. Even they had his the way his hair was styled when he was in the real world, it was just very Vince. Like me and my girl noticed it initially. It was like, oh, why is he so Vince McMahon-ish? It was just a little odd.
He plays the head of this other tech company that's kind of trying to take over the world.
Well, IOI is
They kill some in you.
basically provider, or so to speak. Like they
Yeah.
provide stuff within the world and outside of the world, and you could basically end up in debt to them. And the way when you end up in debt to them, they have what they call loyalty centers, and they come arrest you and they take you in, and you basically have to work in the Oasis in this little box, and you're just working in there. The book version of the Oasis, it's they go to school. The kid Wade in the book is in like high school age. And I'm not sure if they really say how old he is in the movie, but he goes to school. And he goes to school on the school planet in the Oasis. So he spends most of his time in the early parts of the book in his little, like he has like a hidden van. This is a company they don't find him when they blow up the stacks because he's hidden. So one of the changes in the movie is that they actually come save him, so to speak, from the van, and that doesn't really happen in the book. Here's the one thing. It's really hard to put together a movie based on a book where there's so much imagination involved. So I feel like it's a heavy task for Spielberg. I think he did a good job with what he had, because like I told Marty, this seriously could have been 2 movies split in half if they did it the way that the book goes, because there's a lot more stuff. Like the quests in the movie were shortened. Right. Like initially in the book, the quests are you have to figure out where the gate is, and then you have to do a challenge for the gate. And in the book, it's kind of like all in one. In the movie, it's like all in one. It's like, all right, no, you're going right to the key.
I mean, going that way, I guess you could have made 3 movies if you wanted to. I mean, it would have been pretty. I mean, if they turned the fucking Hobbit into 3 movies, and they turned,
you had enough.
Yeah, they turned all the what was the
Twilight?
Not even Twilight. The other one. With the
Hobbit was a 250-page book stretched onto 9 hours of movie. This could have been maybe 3 hour-and-a-half movies, or 2-hour movies.
Hunger Games, it took 1 book and made 2 movies, isn't
it? Harry Potter, it's the same thing.
Yeah, Potter, it took a few. I mean, it would have been. I just don't think you could have done this for any more than 1 movie. I think it would have got tiresome after a while.
It just depends.
It was a 2 hour, 20-minute movie, and I got kind of tired of it at some point. So. I mean, they do well going back and forth from reality to virtual reality to reality, and it's interesting. It's funny how a book that was written, I think it was sometime in the 80s, right?
No,
even
2011.
This book was written in 2011.
Yeah.
Oh well, then there goes my point. But I'm saying because it reflects well on our time even now, because you walk around when they show reality in the movie, you see it's like a bunch of people with these virtual reality goggles on at all times, and they're in the middle of the street at their job and doing a shit like. And
even at the end,
they're acting out and stuff, and it kind of relates to our society now with people on their phones all the time.
Totally, yeah.
And it was a funny little thing. It focuses on the kid Wade and his 4 friends that he has in the virtual reality, and it was interesting that his best friend is someone he's never met really in real life, and it kind of reminded me of our little world we've created here, where you and Abe talk all the time and did a show, and you see each other really, but you never met in person. Right. Yeah. You never met Jamil or Amanda or
It's a little different though, because
I'm saying it's just like
you're looking at Dan. They're looking at Avatar. It's kind of like it plays.
Are you?
Like, you don't know if it's that's a great Avatar, Dan. But we've actually met in person. we'd had
it touches on that as far as are people who they really are.
Yeah.
Why do you have that on hand? That's the freakiest part. Why do you have that right there?
It's my co-host. It's my new co-host.
Hello.
Yeah. This is when the show goes completely batshit, and we know it's like, Dan's lost it. He's talking to the.
Let me put my avatar on. All right, here we
go. Disco Stew, like disco music.
Like disco music. There you go.
It's a big thing in the book. Actually, it's a big thing when the H character, his best friend in the world, or basically in the real world too, because this is his best friend. He doesn't know it's a black woman.
That was
so at least racism can't happen, right? I mean,
no. Well, yeah, it can't. He's just it's a reveal in the book. It's like because he's expecting this dude that he's been hanging out with forever. He had no clue. So when they finally meet in person, it's like, oh shit, you're a black girl, and it wasn't a big deal. It was just like, oh wow. Like it was.
I mean, I thought it was clear in the Avatar in the movie that it was a black person. Whether or not it was a man or woman, I guess, was the big surprise. I assumed it was going to be a woman once they were talking about it for a while, but that was the.
Yeah, voice modulation.
Yeah, I didn't really care at that point either. And it was also a weird thing where it's like you have all these this whole thing about virtual reality, and everyone in the world is in this oasis, but it just by chance that this guy Wade and all his 4 friends live in the same area without knowing.
Well, they don't. That's the thing. They don't. The book version of it, Wade is in Oklahoma. H is just traveling in her van, so to speak, and they meet up. The 2 Asian guys. One of them dies. There's Dido and Show. One of them actually dies in the book. They get killed by the IOI people. And what happens is Peg's character in the book, at the end, when they find out that IOI killed the guy, he flew everybody to his house, his home, which don't quote me, it might be in Washington, but he flew them there, and he had like a super rig set up, and that's how they get to the final challenge is done in Peg's character's home, as opposed to him being a character within the Oasis that they had no clue was him. So it's like a little subtle change that they did there. Because that was one of my problems with the movie, because when I watched it, I was like, how the fuck did all these people just end up here? Like, they're not supposed to be here. Like, he just comes out one day. He's like, oh, so, hey, I'm Artemis. I'm this. And we're in Columbus, Ohio. Everybody's here. They don't even explain where the Asian guys come from. They're just there. There's an 11-year-old who doesn't have parents. So it's like, there's no explanation of it. But in the book, they do explain that those 2 guys were in Japan, and they were flown over, and then all that other stuff. So
that would have, yeah. I don't know what would have been worse, have that explained or having it not explained in a movie.
Yeah, it's one of those like you got it, but again, you can't spend all that time in the movie with that. It would have been nice to see that character arc with Peg's character, because he's basically the well, I was going to use a dumb pun, the key of the movie, but technically that's what it is, and they say it at the end. You were the key all along, but he kind of is. Because the whole thing is that he feels horrible about that friendship.
No, they call him the rosebud of the whole thing, right?
Something like that. He was listed at the end. The Wade character goes, "Oh, you were it the whole time. You were his biggest regret the whole time," and it was one of those things.
One of the coolest parts of me is they enter the movie The Shining at one point.
Oh, that was great.
Which is pretty funny.
That was great.
And then I think you had said in the book, was it supposed to be a movie re-reviewed? It was supposed to be
in the War Games. In the book, he has to. In the book, one of the challenges is the Wade character has to reenact one of the scenes from War Game, and he gets morphed into the movie, and he's basically Matthew Broderick, and he has to recite the lines line for line. And that was a simulation that was within the Oasis, and he had to do it line for line, and that was one of the challenges. That was part of one of the challenges. They completely took that simulation aspect out of the movie, but they kind of brought it in with that Shining, the little horror scene, and all that other stuff. That was, it was one of the funner scenes in the movie.
The funniest part for me, the only time I actually laughed at a lot of movies, when they in the final battle scene, the Chucky doll appears.
Yeah,
and they just take this Chucky doll and start throwing it at people, and he starts hacking the shit out of them. And
they curse too. They just yelled out, "It's fucking Chucky."
That was good. Cursing works like that in small dose, where it's like, oh, that's how else would you react to that situation if someone threw a Chucky doll at you? I mean, it's just, let me segue for 1 second because you brought up cursing. The latest example in the I guess there's no rules anymore situation. Have you seen this the Tracy Morgan show on TBS?
Not yet.
They've been promoting the shit out of it on TBS.
The
last OG, and they just throw the N-word out there on TBS.
That word has been put in the category that you could say on TV now.
TBS though?
Yeah, no. I mean, you can say it on Comedy Central.
You can say 7 o'clock on a weekday. They're throwing out the N-word.
That show's at 7 p.m.
It was the replay. I just got a replay of it.
Oh, yeah. No. There's different rules with that.
They have it on USA now in that Tupac Biggie thing, but at least that's 10:30 at night. And you kind of know what you're getting there. This was before Seinfeld rerun, for God's sake.
You can say shit on basic cable now.
I guess that changes the rules and stuff, but like TBS using the N-word, I was like, whoa, Jesus Christ.
Just casually, listen, the FCC is way too busy just trying to throttle our internet, so they don't care about cursing right now.
That's going to start the next
the bandwidth
war. So Robert Melee has a question in the chat. it's kind of a loaded question, really, but it's interesting. Is this a redemptive movie for Spielberg because he hasn't made a great movie in a while?
We didn't like The Post.
No, I didn't.
But you love Lincoln.
Lincoln is one of my favorites. Lincoln's fantastic. But I was doped up on post wisdom tooth painkillers after seeing Lincoln. But I was there in awe. I'm like, this movie's amazing.
I had no interest in BFG.
Yeah,
I heard that's gotten a bad.
And that kind of the BFG was a pretty big failure. And
I heard he got a bad rap, but
I heard he got a bad rap.
That
was what I heard.
But he hasn't had one of these popcorn movies hit in a good while.
So, he tried.
Oh yeah, he tried. War of the Worlds. Let's see, War of the Worlds.
That was. We're talking what 2005?
It's about 15, 16 years ago. Oh yeah, it's probably like
around the same time with Catch Me If You Can came out, and that did fairly well from what I understand.
And we're gonna say The Post was successful in that it was nominated for an Oscar, but
he wasn't. He wasn't nominated for an Oscar though.
No, he was not. But the movie itself was. But it just didn't do that. It wasn't the hit people expect it to be. So we're gonna put that as a failure. The BFG we're gonna say is a failure. He's got so many other random credits. It's hard to kind of go through his shit.
Well, I'm gonna pull up his directing credits.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go right.
Just look at his directing.
The BFG, Bridge of Spies was good, not great.
Lincoln's fantastic.
Again, Lincoln's fantastic. Warhorse was again Oscar nominated, but not loved. The Adventures of Tintin.
It's gotten some love.
He's been bouncing back and forth from these kind of historical movies, and then.
And he's an executive producer on a bunch of shit too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an EP on. He was EP on the last Transformers.
I mean, this is his first money. This is his first good popcorn movie, I would say, since Minority Report.
Tintin was great.
Well, okay.
War of the Worlds made a lot of money, though, didn't it?
All his historical movies are great. Still, I mean, Bridge of Spies, while not everyone's cup of tea, I really enjoyed it. Lincoln is great. Warhorse was good. Munich was great. War of the Worlds is popcornish, but still was kind of a take on it.
But then he did that horrible Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his crutch. That's his.
War of the Worlds was $132 million budget, made $600 million worldwide.
So, that was
and this is like in
was it 05? That was 05. Was War of the Worlds?
Yeah. So as far as tickets were like $17, $19. So
it's not.
600 then was pretty good actually. Yeah.
This is not so good that it erases Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Nothing's gonna erase that.
Well, the next Indiana Jones one, we'll have to do that. It's a good balance.
Well, listen to this one though. Do you know what the worldwide Indiana for Crystal Skull was?
That made money.
786 million worldwide.
Everyone went to go see it.
786. That's ridiculous for that movie.
Oh, that made
It was hate watched.
That was peak Shia LaBeouf. Come on. You can't,
oh my god.
He was hot back then.
Peak Shia. Wow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's meant to redeem him. I think there was no other director I think you could have picked to make this except I think this movie would have been a tad better if Edgar Wright directed it. Because this could have had that. Not JJ. You know why I say Edgar is because before I watched this, I saw Scott Pilgrim. Rewatched Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, you're going straight from video game aspect.
Yeah, because that's what this movie is. This movie is a video game, and it's a love letter to video games and 80s pop culture. But really, the whole movie plays like a video game.
I mean, other than the music and some of the things they talk about, it's hard to get a huge 80s thing about it because, like Dan was saying,
it's style.
So much shit is on the screen at once. It's really hard to see what the fuck it is. Like, you see some Halo guys, they're pretty easy to pick out. Of course, you saw Godzilla and dinosaurs from Jurassic Park type stuff. But as far as like you spot a few little characters here and there. Like I saw Marvin the Martian at one point, just randomly.
Oh, there's a bunch of random characters.
But it's really hard to get all the things coming out. Like he drives. The biggest 80s thing is that he drives around a DeLorean the whole time.
And the DeLorean is fitted with the lights from KITT.
Yeah.
And in the book, actually, KITT's voice is in the DeLorean. Yeah, there's a lot of little things you have to. Those things are not meant for everybody to catch, though. Like if you really know what you're looking for.
You have to watch one of those YouTube Easter egg kind of movies to have them all, picked out for you.
I think you'll have to watch the movie.
There's at least I'm not going to do that though.
Yeah, you're not going to catch them all.
They're literally like at that, like the big final boar battle is it's great.
It's all Easter eggs.
Pretty epic. But it's just too much to watch, really, if you're looking for that kind of stuff.
They fucking brought out the Battletoads. The Battletoads were front and center. And the new Ninja Turtles. So both
the Ninja
were
Turtles.
there.
I did catch the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Some of the samurai stuff was probably something, but I didn't know what it was.
The Gundam thing was pretty awesome. Did you realize the balls from when we were kids with the faces? And that was one of the weapons?
Yeah, that was one of the bombs or something.
That was pretty cool.
They had, like I said, not much cartoonish shit. A couple of Batman things. They had, you can climb Mount Everest with Batman. You see like someone climb Mount Everest with Batman.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn was there. They had the old Batmobile from the TV show.
Yeah, in that race.
I was driving around Adam West's car.
There's a bunch of Easter eggs in that race, actually. A bunch. I think you know what happens is that since they're making it today, they had to add all the new. That's what I'm saying. When I read it, it felt more 80s nostalgia than when I was watching. Because now they kind of just did like everything up to now and just dropped it in the movie. Like, because you're going.
All the music was 80s inspired, and kind of the dress was 80s, that kind of stuff. Because
some of the avatars, yeah.
The guy Halliday was huge into he was like a big nerd back in, I guess, the 80s. So that's all he really did. Not even that much. He watched everything.
The crazy part about that is when you realize the Halliday character is probably only no more than 10 years older than us.
In 2045, yeah.
No. I'm saying like. If we would have lived, if we are in that same universe, he's essentially a guy that was born in the mid 70s.
I don't know if he played it this way for kicks or whatever, but it was very Garth from Wayne and Garth.
A lot of people say that.
The way he's kind of his mannerisms, his way of speaking was very like
an adult Garth. Yeah.
I don't know if they're real, but
again, when you read it, you get more of a Steve Jobs type of feel.
Yeah,
and Peg's character is more Woz.
Not the assholeness of it, though. None of that.
No, just the creativeness of it. And Peg's character is more Woz.
I'm just seeing Spielberg is credited as executive producer for Halo, so I guess that's how he got those rights.
Yeah. Well, they were gonna do a Halo
TV
They're
show.
doing that's what he's listed as, a Halo executive producer show, but it's just announced. So who knows?
He got his hands on a lot of stuff, man.
Not a lot of Jurassic. Only like the one dinosaur thing, so it wasn't much Jurassic Park.
King Kong, right? King Kong was it?
Yeah, Kong. He was the big thing you had to get past in the first race. Everyone would drive to the end, and then at the end of the race, Kong would just sit there and eat you.
You know what's fun? The Iron Giant pops up, and when the Iron Giant dies, he does the Terminator 2 thumbs up through the fire, through the lava pit. That was something fun to see. It's a reference fest. There's a story there. I don't know. When you it's one of those problems that I have when you pre-read some of this stuff. Your imagination and the movie never sync up. It's kind of like with people who read all the Game of Thrones stuff and they're real like, no, it's not like that in the book. It's not.
I don't know. I've read all the Game of Thrones books and I didn't fucking care. This show's its own thing.
Well, because you're in agreement that it's its own thing. There's people there they refuse to feel that way. Like my girlfriend's one of them.
M. Vance is wondering, is Max Headroom in it? Was there a Max Headroom sighting?
I didn't catch him. He might be in.
My only real issue, and I'll fast forward to the end without going over too much of the crap. I mean, the end is the Mendelsohn character is just kind of goes and wants to kill everybody who's in charge of the Oasis, who might win the Oasis so he can control himself. And he seems to operate throughout the entire movie above the law. So it's hard to tell at any point in this reality version of this movie if there is, government, if there is law enforcement anymore. Is this guy above everybody? Until the very end when he shows up with a gun somewhere, and then the police arrest him. So it's like, okay, so he was able to enslave basically all these people and operate completely.
No, that's the thing. He wasn't. Those loyalty things are, it's enslaving, but it's not. It's almost like you're paying off your debt. And you assume in this world they have there's a legal thing there because
because it's not slavery; it's just indentured servitude.
Yeah,
it's almost a little different. It's like you got to pay for some shit that you owe. But he gets arrested for what happens in the stacks, not for pointing the gun at the kid. Because when the world found out that they blew up the stacks, because the guy from the beginning of the book, he's like, he murders like 20 trailers worth of people trying to get this kid out of the way.
Yeah, they really don't touch. No one dwells on that too much, I must say.
No, because the thing is, they set it up for the kid to not really give a shit about any family. He was like, "Oh, monster," and then the next thing you know, he gets kidnapped, and that doesn't happen in the book. And I didn't like that choice that they made.
It was very much like Luke not caring too much about his aunt and uncle dying. That he didn't.
Wait, I got powers.
It was enough to make him leave, but it wasn't. You know, he had one quick moment where he was like, "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah. No, I think he was fine with his uncle dying because that dude was a douche, or his step uncle.
Yeah, it's kind of like rare. It's like, oh, his parents died. They don't really say why. It was a really the movie that all the Oasis stuff was really good. I really enjoyed all that stuff. The marrying it with the reality version of the world, I don't think they did enough there to explain what was going on. And it's hard. It was hard to do anymore, I guess, because like I said, it was 2 hours 20 minutes of a movie, so I didn't want to sit there for any more explanation. But it was hard to care what was going on in the real world because they didn't really tell me what was going on there.
See, that's where I get at with the fact that they condensed it, and it's like a lot of stuff gets lost in the condensing of it. And it's not a huge book at all. It's like a 300-something page book. But the way that Klein wrote it, it's the movie condenses a lot of it, and you get lost a little bit. Again, it's like to the point where at the end, well, not at the end, in the middle, when they meet up with the whole group, and you're like, how the fuck they end up all there? This doesn't make sense. Because you're like, I didn't know these people were all here. That doesn't make sense. So it's kind of one of those stupid things where they could have, like, you want to see the Oasis, but you don't want to see a whole CG movie. They seamlessly flip back and forth, which I didn't have a problem with the way they would flip back and forth because it was pretty seamless. But you don't care enough about the real world. And the Artemis character is supposed to make you care about the real world. But in the same sense, you're like, well, why does she even give a fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the Matrix. Do you really give a fuck about the real world in the Matrix? You don't really give a fuck about the real world in the Matrix. You don't. You really don't.
Similar.
I mean, you care more about the world of the Oasis because the real worry is that, you know, Mendelssohn's character is going to get control and he'll destroy the Oasis. So you care about that.
Well, not even destroy it. The thing that he was going to do was monetize every. Like that's what they were afraid of.
There's one line. Yeah. He was like, we figured out a way that you can put 75% ads on the screen without giving people seizures.
yeah. And then they showed a mock-up of it, and it basically is an ad on every inch of the screen, and then just a little bit of game that you're looking at.
I was trying to see if I had anything that I could just lift up for product placement. I don't.
Yeah, it's kind of like, here. There's a switch and a phone. It's right there. And it's
like zero product placement on in my general vicinity. The only thing I can do again is this.
I think Stevens. That's still creepy.
Is that like a lamb chop?
It's a Lammy from Doc McStuffins.
Oh, that's a complete copyright infringement right there. Come on, that's lamb chop.
That is lamb chop.
Bullshit right
Let's see. I can probably do some Shopkins stuff too.
Lamb chop might be in the movie too.
Yeah, there wasn't. I mean, again, there wasn't anything crazy that.
Sure.
He's got some weird shit in his basement, folks.
I don't know what to tell you. Yeah,
he got 2 kids. You're allowed to have weird shit in your basement.
I literally have a fish bowl filled with these little bouncy balls. There's a whole fish bowl filled with these balls.
It seems like something that an evil boss would have.
I don't know what I would do with it.
And that yellow, that thing is still behind you.
Oh my god, it's so fucking heavy. I can't pick it up. No. That's it's a piñata. It's a cookie piñata.
How has that still not been popped?
It has been. The back of it's completely torn open. It's been murdered.
So I mean, I'll say I didn't love the movie. I didn't hate it. It was fun. It was fun in parts. I mean, I can't tell you have to go out and watch this.
I'm not gonna go see it.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, when it's on like HBO, right? I'll see it on HBO.
It'd be fun on HBO, but it's almost something you should see in a theater. But again, I can't tell you go out and see it.
You know, I don't know if I don't know if I needed to see it in the theater. I mean, because I was excited for it, but like after watching it, I'm not sure if the theater experience added to the movie. I'm not sure.
I mean, seeing it in Prime was fun for the audio aspect. There was a lot of like shake, you know, the chair shakes a lot during the battle scene, so that's always fun. But
yeah, it's a pretty loud movie.
It was not. it's not something I can tell you. Everyone go out and run and see this one. I think it'll be a forgotten movie of the year. People aren't gonna.
It depends what you're looking for. I feel like most people who read the book generally enjoyed it.
Like I said, I haven't seen anybody who hates the movie really, but it's just it'll be lucky if it's still #1 this weekend.
What comes out this weekend?
Nothing great that I remember, but I can't imagine it's gonna have it. It's fact it only made 52 mil.
But it was a weird.
Got that stupid Blockers movies coming out this weekend. I think people are gonna go. That seems to be getting a lot of good praise lately. So I think.
Oh, the Cock Blockers movie with Cena.
Yeah. And I wish this was just on TV because I don't want to go out and see it, but I do want to see the movie, the Chappaquiddick movie. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah.
I love all kind of type.
Me too. I wish it was a VOD because I would totally see it. I'm not gonna go.
Well, I mean, there are ways.
Very respectful on the show. I think Blockers will be #1 this weekend. I'll say that now.
I'm not sure how much. I don't know because I feel like half of they were like.
It'll make 28-30 million, and that's going to be more than enough to beat Ready Player One in week 2. So
it's also WrestleMania weekend, so I figure a lot of
but you have Cena. Yep, a lot of Cena people. Cena apparently is going to fight the Undertaker this weekend. So
we don't know. We don't know this yet.
All right, let's see. Marty's prediction is that Blockers is going to be #1 this weekend. My prediction is that Cena is going to fight the Undertaker this weekend. There you go.
Either way, Cena wins.
Cena's going to win. Cena's going to make money.
Yeah,
this could be a big money-making weekend for Cena.
Yeah, he's got a long road to get to The Rock, though. I mean, I don't think anyone's ever getting to The Rock ever.
Because he hasn't had a good. He's kind of had this niche in little side comedy roles, but he hasn't. Anytime he does action, he's not that good at it.
He was Ferdinand.
Yeah, you're saying he's good for voiceover comedy.
But what action movie has he really done that
he tried to do all those Marine ones.
No. You can't count WWE made movies.
Yeah.
I think he's just too goofy looking.
He is pretty goofy.
He's almost like.
Did you ever watch the show Psych?
Retarded brother. I love Psych.
Yeah, he was the brother. He was the cop's brother. Yeah. He was good on that. He was really good on that. Yeah.
He's good in Trainwrecked.
Yeah, but he's really good as the kind of third, fourth character. Just hey, that's funny, but I still don't see him carrying a movie.
I mean, but Dan,
even The Rock barely carries movies.
He doesn't, but The Rock has not stopped playing The Rock since they allowed him to just be The Rock. The minute they said you don't have to no longer be a character and you could just be The Rock and we'll just name you something else, he's like, okay, cool, I'm running with it. So he's never changed characters.
I have a feeling Rampage is going to make dumb money just for no reason.
Also a video game movie.
I think it's going to do well in China too. I bet.
Oh yeah, I
think China's going to eat that up. They love The Rock. This looks like dumb action. Yeah.
They moved it 2 weeks before Avengers, which was smart.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be what, next week?
I think it is next week. Yeah,
next week.
April 3rd, April 12th, 13th. I think it comes out.
Yeah, because they moved up Avengers. But Dan, you saw Ferdinand, right?
I haven't seen Ferdinand. No, my wife took Annie to go see it, so I haven't seen it yet.
She didn't. No comment.
No, they seem to like it. My daughter liked it. Yeah.
It was Oscar nominated.
Yeah, my wife it was like her favorite book growing up, Ferdinand. So it's just different. So I've read Ferdinand to Annie for ages, and it's just
I had no clue that was a book.
It's a good book.
I have not seen one of these cartoon movies. I'm going to say ever. I saw Inside Out on TV. I think I've seen the last one I went to the movies to see one of the cartoons was probably one of the Toy Stories.
Toy Stories, yeah.
Toy Story 3 probably.
Yeah.
They're making another one, right?
That's been talked about for forever too. I don't know.
The Incredibles 2 comes out this summer. Yeah.
I finally saw Incredibles 1. It comes out June 15th.
It's the best Fantastic Four movie that's ever been out.
It's so exhausting right now with these movies, though. It's too much shit going on.
You were saying you consider that a comic movie. It technically is, but it's still a cartoon.
Superhero movie.
So I think it's just more of a Disney cartoon movie first.
It is a Disney cartoon movie, but again, no shit. It's the best Fantastic Four rendition we've seen on the screen.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's well, in theory, because they don't have like a flaming person. But yeah, it's
well, because, the sun runs really fast, right?
Yeah, he runs fast.
So he doesn't go on fire, but you get the wife is the daughter's invisible, the wife is the elastic, and the husband's kind of like thing. He's just really strong and
he's strong and
big. Yeah, right.
The girl also could do force fields and shit.
But now they have a baby. I bet you the baby could probably do fire, right?
The baby. Well, I finally saw The Incredibles. I didn't know the baby does everything. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
He turns into a goblin. He turned into some other shit. I was like, okay, this is what's happening. But what I mean is that whole movie is it exists because of comic lore.
Yeah.
So,
looking ahead, Avengers has like a month run.
Oh really? What comes out after Avengers?
Nothing. Really.
Nothing until
Deadpool, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, you got Avengers coming out on the 20. I guess we'll say 25th, whatever it'd be that Wednesday.
27th.
Nothing coming out against that weekend. So that's the last week of April. So you got all of May basically.
They have 2 weeks before Deadpool, I think.
A couple of comedy stuff, Bad Samaritan horror movie. A couple of comedies, and then Deadpool comes out on the May 18th.
Speaking of horror movies, that John Krasinski horror movie is getting a lot of good buzz.
Yeah, the Quiet, was it called? Quiet
Place or something like that?
Quiet Place.
Jim, the one with Jim from The Office?
Yeah.
And his wife.
I can't take him seriously, man.
He apparently directed it as well.
Oh, did he?
Oh, so this is his Get Out?
And he's going to be in, he's playing, what's his name? The Quiet Place, right? He's going to be the next Ryan, right? In
yeah, but on TV.
On TV.
Not TV, but still. Streaming.
But still, whatever. That's cool.
A Quiet Place versus Blockers this weekend. That should be interesting, actually. Because Quiet Place is going to be in more theaters. Slightly more theaters.
Yeah,
they both got good reviews, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I've never seen Blockers, the first trailer I saw that, back 6 months ago, probably. And just thinking, oh, it looks like shit. But apparently, it's gotten good reviews.
The first time I saw the trailer, I was like, and then I saw the second trailer, I was like, this could be funny.
It just seems like
you see Cena butt chugging
jokes and fucking.
You see Cena butt chugging. You gotta kind of appreciate that.
I mean, I like Ike Barinholtz, but he's kind of the same thing in every movie, and so is Leslie Mann.
Isn't this kind of like the in a way like almost like the reverse Superbad, right? I mean, we saw Superbad with the boys, and now this is the Superbad for girls, really.
It's a female American Pie, I guess, in that regard.
I see.
American Pie is.
I would think
it's the losing the virginity thing.
Yeah, but I would think it. But I mean, Superbad was kind of the same, though. Superbad, that was kind of the whole plot of it was them to get the girls drunk.
The line in Superbad was like, "I would die for pussy, man." So yeah,
that movie's great.
Yeah, that was. It's funny. This is actually one of those movies that you can compare it to all those movies, but it's really its own thing. I've never seen a movie where it's really about the parents' journey to stop them. So I think you're gonna get all the comedy from the parents and not the kids.
I think we're gonna get some of the raunch from the kids.
The raunch is gonna be from the kids. Like the newest trailer has like one of the girls like, "Oh, I'm gonna split him in two."
Yeah,
but I feel like that's all gonna happen.
Dick and stuff, so.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things that's all gonna happen in the beginning, and when the parents hear that. And then they take you in that jersey because there's no reason why Cena should be butt chugging a beer as a father. Like that has to be the focus of where this movie is going. It's almost like Neighbors.
It's from the same people.
Yeah, it makes sense. Where they have the older people doing the shit that the younger people are doing, and that's just comedy because they're old when they're not really that old.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that makes me realize that I'm not in tune with the rest of America as far as what I find funny. When this will be number one at the box office and Roseanne will be the number one show on TV at the same time.
Yeah, but who's watching Roseanne?
America.
Which America?
49% of America. 49%.
Yeah, that's exactly 40.
I mean, you can't get millions whatever, close to 18 million people to watch a network television these days. Was pretty surprising, and it did well in week 2 too. So that was a funny thing.
Yeah, let's see if it sustains. There's a nostalgia thing with that show coming back also.
Yeah, a lot of these shows. I mean, what do they do? They're bringing back Mad About You. I think it's coming back. They brought back
Will and Grace
came back.
Year. Right now on TV up against us, those sons of bitches, is fucking the Jersey Shore reunion. That's barely nostalgia. That was like 5 years ago.
No, it wasn't. It was like 10 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
It's amazing how
like 5 years. Then that show was on for a little while.
You know what nostalgia thing looks really good though, and I'm not going to pay the money for it. Sorry, YouTube, you're not going to get my money. Cobra Kai looks good.
Cobra Kai
looks really good.
I'm sorry, I know it doesn't.
It looks. Oh my god, it looks so good. What are you talking about, Nick?
I can't see Ralph Macchio as an adult. I just can't see him.
I love it.
And the sleazy car dealer though, he looks
he looks great. And they're playing it off as he's going to end up kind of being the bad guy in this. You know, he's going to end up being wrong. It's great.
You know what Ralph Macchio looks like? He looks like when they take a younger actor and make him look old, but you still know it's a younger actor.
He looks exactly the same.
Because he looks the same, but he's 50. Like, it's weird. Like, I see him and I'm like, did he age? Did he not?
I tell you, man, Macchio's had 2 great performances post Karate Kid. 2 great ones. My Cousin Vinny, and Beer League. Great performances.
He was in something else too.
He's in Beer League. He's got a big cock.
I love that people are like they're rebooting this. Like there hasn't been 2 reboots of the Karate Kid.
Hilary Swank and
Jaden Smith.
Well, Hilary Swank wasn't a reboot as much as it was a odd continuation.
Yeah,
because it was still Miyagi's world.
Yeah, it's just really weird to see her get kind of knocked down at the end of that movie and paralyzed.
Oh yeah, she get.
That's Hilary Swank in that movie I'm talking about, right?
It was weird in the action movie though to see her get beat up by a guy at some point. It's just like,
I think that's a different movie.
But it was the same actress, right? I'm right with that. Hilary Swank was.
Yeah. I'm kind of mad.
It was more weird to go see her win Oscars after watching that fucking movie. Actually,
that movie was hard to watch.
I think I'd watch that again before I'd watch the Jaden Smith shit though.
It wasn't bad. You just hate the family.
I think they're vomitous. Yes.
No, it was for what it was. It was. They picked the right guy to be Miyagi. You pick Jackie Chan. Everybody loves Jackie Chan. I never met a person that doesn't like Jackie Chan.
I can do it without him.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, but do you not like him?
God, now I gotta look it up. The guy who played Miyagi was in another great movie. What was the movie that Pat Morita was in with Jay Leno? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Oh my god, it's so fucking funny. Because at one point he does this thing where he's like, "Oh, karate." He just pretends like he knows karate in it.
And then somehow Jay Leno wants the richest guy in the world.
Morita.
I love when actors could caricature themselves. That's fun. That's just always fun. Yeah, I'm not watching Cobra Kai.
I think it looks. I still haven't watched anything original on other than us, of course. As far as any of the original YouTube shows, I haven't really.
It's almost like I want to see a movie about the villains from Ski School. Like YouTube, make that. I want to know what happened to the villain in Ski School. Like I don't want to see what happened to Cobra Kai. We knew his life was going to be shitty. He was an asshole as a kid. Now I'm supposed to feel like, oh, the kid that won is now going to be an asshole, just so you could feel bad for the guy who was an asshole to begin with, and karma. So now it's like no, I'm not watching this bullshit. Fuck out of here.
It's a redemption story of bullies.
Yeah, no, I'm not watching. I don't want to see Macho be the bully. No.
Not so much. I don't think he'd be a bully. He'll just be a douche, I think. Which I think fits his face at this point.
He was kind of a douche in the original movies, too.
Oh, no, he was just more of a whining bitch in there.
Yeah, he was very Luke Skywalker-ish.
Oh, I will cut you.
First movie Luke. Not Black Suit Luke. Black Suit Luke was an asshole. He was almost like Venom in Spider-Man 3 when Tobey Maguire gets all slick and shit. I was like, oh, okay, Luke got a little, something different over here.
So a trailer today for the Spider-Verse movie. I guess the cartoon is coming out this Christmas.
Yeah, it was the trailer for the movie.
I'm putting a picture of the poster of that Pat Morita Jay Leno movie on the screen. It's called Collision Course. I think so. I think we're gonna watch Collision Course. Look at that poster. Look how great that is.
Oh my god,
it's amazing.
It's almost like
Jay Leno holding a gun against. They clearly shot that at like the same studio where you shoot your 5th grade fucking class photo.
Put this back up. Here we go.
It's bad.
So, Watch out. The Solo movie is going to bomb.
From the director of the
They're
Jewel of the Nile.
They're gonna open it in Cannes, actually.
Which one?
That's a Star Wars first,
Solo,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's not something that really happens.
Well, you got Ron Howard. You got Ron Howard.
I think you're gonna have to define what a bomb is. I don't think it'll be.
Well, the thing is, the what a bomb is defined by what Star Wars does. This is only the second non-Star Wars movie.
It'll make the least amount of Star Wars money, but that's the most money of people would enjoy that money. The only problem is this movie probably costs so much because they shot it twice, essentially.
I don't know, man. Like when I saw the first trailer,
nothing I've seen is got me that excited. But
no, I got excited when I saw the first trailer. I was like, "Oh, this looks all right." And then when they had an expanded trailer with a little bit more dialogue, I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like this." I was like, "This guy, not Harrison Ford."
As the biggest Star Wars fan on this platform, I will say I'm more excited to see the Avengers movie. So.
Oh, they're gonna kill a bunch of people.
This will be the one movie. This will be another Star Wars movie that I see just once, probably.
I hope it's better than Rogue One. I mean, I know we're in the minority of Rogue One haters because apparently everybody loves Rogue One, but
people rank Rogue One ahead of Last Jedi. I don't understand it. I just don't.
Yeah, I didn't really I never cared to watch Rogue One again.
I've rewatched Last Jedi now. I want to rewatch it again with the director's commentary, but I still love all the parts of the movie that I loved originally. I like the Finn Rose shit even less now. It just.
Oh man, after you shit on something for a long ass time, there's no way to like it.
I mean, there were parts you think I could just figure it. I hate it. I understand Canto Bite more. I understand why they went there and stuff, but just wasn't. She's not a good actress. He's just awkward. A lot of it, he didn't know what to do in this movie. It seems like.
But it's the same exact problem I had with him in the first in episode 7. I was just like, this Finn character is just like, why do I give a fuck? I want to care because I like Boyega, but I don't really care about Finn. And
he's moving 100 miles an hour throughout the movie a lot, and it's just someone needs to tell him to slow down at some point and just try to. He's not a bad actor. I mean,
no, I like him. It's just
although Pacific Rim bombed essentially, but
man, the first one wasn't great either.
No, not at all.
I heard this movie was Pacific Rim 2 was very self-aware that it's a shitty movie, from what I understand. They went ridiculous and they knew that it was going to be ridiculous. The first one tried to be a serious movie. I remember I saw that shit on a cruise. And we had an inside cabin, and nothing served me better to go to sleep than that fucking movie. I forgot about seasickness. Forgot about everything. It was just like, this is not for me. I'm out cold, yo. Turn the lights off.
Well, the first one was directed by an Oscar winner, so.
But that was Guillermo, right? He did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't win that Oscar at that point, Dan.
M. Vance saying Last Jedi is only better than Episode 2. I can't talk. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
That's
I love Star Wars more than anybody. Phantom Menace is as boring a movie as you can watch.
Phantom Menace is better than Episode 2, though.
Phantom Menace is better than Episode 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 3 is the best out of that bunch. There's 3, 1, 2.
Yeah, I guess you got to make 3 the best out of the bunch. But I tell you, the best fight sequence out of all of them still is Phantom Menace.
The Yoda one?
Is the Qui-Gon Jinn, Darth Maul, and Obi-Wan fight is the best.
Maul was a great villain. It just wasn't used properly.
Well, until they brought him back.
They do so much good stuff with him.
Darth Maul is a great cartoon villain in the movies. Yeah. He just was this guy with a cool double-sided fucking thing where he looked great, but you had no motivation. He didn't know what the fuck he was there for.
It's just the best fight sequence out of all of those. I like the Obi-Wan Anakin one in Episode 3. But
so to be fair, what you're saying is that fight sequence is the best in the entire Star Wars. Because it's better than any of the sequences in the first 3.
No,
and went 4 through 6. Those sequences were not great. They were iconic.
No. Yeah, I would put.
You have to care when you're watching something. Just seeing those guys do incredible stunts and incredible work, and
that's part of it.
About the look of it,
but you still have to care about what's happening.
No, I mean choreography wise, the best choreographed fight scene is it's definitely the one from Phantom Menace. But the best overall lightsaber is got to be. I'd say
the speed of those 4 through 6.
Which one, Marty? Do you think
4 through 6 was?
I go Luke Vader Episode 5 for my favorite one.
Yes.
I'd go the Palace Guards, Rey and Kylo.
That's really
good. It's really good. It's a very good fight sequence. But
that's almost worth seeing the movie again for, just to see that.
It's a very good fight sequence. I still like, because Duel of the Fates, it just kicks in, and then you get the part where just kind of the force field's down, and they're kind of waiting, and Maul's like walking like this caged tiger. It's just it's so good.
What, they're only going to get better.
That's why you got to walk out of that movie and not hate it.
Exactly, because it ends with that.
Those prequels did a lot of great things, and that they always left you on a good note, where it's like, holy shit, Yoda was fucking kicking ass there. So you didn't you didn't think about how much the movie was stupid.
But let me tell you about those prequels. if you were like 8, you didn't know that they sucked.
Nope.
No, I didn't know they sucked either when I watched them.
Oh well, you should have known.
We
were a little too old to not know that they sucked.
How many times did you see Phantom Menace? How many times did you see Phantom Menace in the theater though?
Twice.
I think I saw.
I saw it at Lincoln Cinemas in Kearney.
I saw it 7 times.
I saw it Lincoln Cinema in Kearney. Me and my friends. It was 2 for Tuesdays, and then I saw it again at a real theater.
I might have paid for it 6 times, but I saw it 7.
That was the first time any of us saw it.
I never got to see it. I saw the remastered ones a couple times when they came out, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
No, it's not the same. I'll say this, going back to some of those prequels, you realize how boring they were.
They're
a lot of plot.
Well, there's good shit in them.
The problem is, it should have been better, because honestly, some of that stuff is actually really intriguing. The way that they made them was bad. Like I like the intrigue, I like the espionage, I like the politics and stuff like that. That stuff plays well with a good script.
Play well for these.
It could. It should
poorly
have,
acted. Poorly acted. Poorly cast.
Well, all right. Let's be fair. Let's be fair with poorly acted. Let's not act like the originals were the greatest acted movies of all time.
But you can't. You knew they cared.
You almost
like Natalie Portman was fucking sleepwalking through those.
Yeah,
movies.
listen. Like
Hamill wasn't great.
Hamill was fine. Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness is great.
Was amazing.
Hamill wasn't great.
Hamill was fine. Harrison Ford's great, and Alec Guinness was fantastic.
Frank Oz.
Yoda.
And also,
you're
talking
great part.
Natalie Portman, Oscar, like as an adult, like
no, she had won one. She was in an Oscar. She was Oscar nominated when she was like 6.
Yeah, but she wasn't that. Yeah, nah, she wasn't who she would be.
Did she end up winning for Black Swan? Right?
Yeah,
she won for Black Swan. Yeah.
So
hashtag synergy. We reviewed that. Yeah.
There's a lot of great extras on the Last Jedi DVD. There's a whole documentary on Rian Johnson and what he did with the Force. There's a lot of behind the scenes shit that's really good. Luke sees Yoda for the first time in not Luke, Mark Hamill, I'll say. He sees Yoda for the first time in God knows how long, and sees him with Frank Oz, and he starts crying. It's he gets so emotional. It's some great stuff there. It's
frustrating when you find out that he didn't want Luke to die. That's a little frustrating.
There's this whole shit that came out where it's George Lucas's original draft had him dying in 9. It's well, yes, the original draft didn't have Carrie Fisher not being really able to act anymore.
Did you see the news that they're saying Meryl Streep?
That was an internet.
Please tell me that was a hoax.
A stupid fan petition thing. But
I'd almost rather a fucking CGI than them do that.
There was this whole thing where Lucas's original thing was for have Luke to train Leia as a Jedi, but it just wasn't. It's not. You can see her in the last 2 movies. She can barely walk. I mean, God bless her, but she just didn't have it anymore. So the idea that you were going to focus an entire movie on her just wasn't realistic anymore.
She could fly through space, but she couldn't walk.
Yeah,
but they would have known it wasn't realistic based on who she was as a person prior to filming.
Yeah, I don't know when
last movie
his original treatments on those, but that's the story that came out. Well, they weren't going to die until 9. You're going to have to kill these characters off.
But are those his treatments though? Didn't other people?
He sold some of it.
When he sold them to Disney, he said, "This is what I have for 7, 8, 9." They didn't have, he didn't say you have to make them this way. He said, "This is what I have. If you want to use it, go ahead." And he saw it. Everyone looked at him, and I think they just threw it away.
So we don't know anything that he.
Yeah, they might have taken this thing. They might have taken 1 or 2 things, and but
you know what? You know what I think he did? The Canto Bites. That's probably a Lucas thing. The little fucking cute chicken things. That's probably a Luke.
Nope. Did you know what those are?
Those are actual puffins. Yeah.
What happened was,
they had, well,
because
they're real things.
puffins. The puffins.
No, the puffins were really there.
The puffins are real. That's
really there. They just
CGI
figured they had the CGI over them because in order for them to film, so they had to add those in.
They couldn't get them out of the way.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So they
without
just turned
doing something horrible.
Yep.
So are they going to pay those puffins royalties?
Probably eating those fucking puffins. Honestly, Chewbacca eating those fucking puffins.
Which is one of the cutest scenes in the movie.
There was a fun deleted scene that shows him later on eating fish.
Those fish are ugly.
He was hanging out with porgs eating fish.
We just hit the 10 o'clock hour. Let's wrap up another episode of the Movie Stuff Show. If you missed it, we talked about Ready Player One, or those guys did. I kind of just nodded along, and then we started talking about some other stuff.
Did not give it a strong endorsement, I will say. Yeah. But it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. Follow Nick at Mega Trinidad. IFTY.
Twitter.
Right,
IFTY Comedy shows Saturday night in Brooklyn.
And then his podcast.
TJ Squares podcast.
I only go to Nick's shows when they're in the good neighborhoods, so I don't go to that.
I don't blame you. I only go when they're in the good neighborhoods.
he telepathically sends himself to the bad neighborhoods. He's got the Tupac hologram shit going on in the fucking the bad neighborhoods.
I have them set off the phone.
as you said, next week we're going to talk about the HBO movie Paterno, starring Al Pacino.
So we'll have Ty on then. So
it actually looks pretty good.
He's playing Joe Pa?
Yeah, Pacino.
Yeah. Pacino. Yep.
Oh wow.
He's done really well with those HBO movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really some of his best work in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. It's the one trailer where his son is asking him, is like, did you know about the stuff? And so I don't have high hopes that they're gonna really, they're gonna play him. He's gonna be portrayed positively. They're not. I
don't think it'll be too positively.
You don't think so?
No,
it'll be what we
liberal
think is gonna be,
liberal America will let him go too positive.
I don't know, man. This dude's.
I don't know. I have to see who wrote it. It could have been
it matters who wrote it.
I know people that went to Penn State that will fucking die fighting for this fucking guy. Yeah. So
I would like to. I don't think we know anybody who went to Penn State, but
I do. No, I do. Yeah.
I mean, that would come on.
Oh, that would come on.
No. I know. I
Nor would I want someone who would want on.
My best friend's little brother, he was there during the protests and shit. He was there when the story broke.
They never lost faith.
They did not lose faith.
Barry Levinson directed, and Deborah. That's it. We'll have to see where they got the source material from.
Yeah, let's be fair though, guys. If Joe Pa was the coach of the Knicks and he won a championship, I think you'd be a little forgiving as well. You'd be like, hey. I mean, those little boys must have asked for it. What were they wearing?
Terrible.
It's the world we live in.
You're suspended for a few weeks.
I'm just saying, it's the world we live in. That's how people are. People love to excuse things when there's a winner. If you want to
see more comedy like this, go to his show. He talks about child molestation. He's got a whole fucking set on it.
I'm not okay with it.
He's got
Nick would probably be okay.
He's gonna bring back some Jared from Subway jokes. Trust me, it's gonna be bad. All right, guys. We just gotta end the show now. So, good night.